Hi, my name is Larissa Reed. I've been asked to make a video about some of my experiences with meditation, and been thinking all day today about what I can share with you. It can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming for me to start sharing my experiences because it's been such a transformational, life-altering experience for me. But you know, I'll share with you some things that I've thought about and kind of what I've come up with. So I was first introduced, I was first impressed that I should start meditating about, it's about 4 years ago now. And I came across a YouTube video of a guy who was talking about, it was really cool. He was doing a 100-day meditation challenge. And he was making a video after every time that he meditated, just kind of on what he learned. And after watching a couple of the videos, something happened inside of my heart. The spirit told me, like, this is something that you need to do. At the time, I was having like a hard time. It was kind of a big transitional part of my life. I didn't like myself very much. I was struggling with motherhood. I was struggling with being a partner. I don't know, it's just some things were just really changing in my life, and I just didn't feel like I was really equipped to handle it. And I had been praying for and looking for some kind of guidance that was more than what I had at the time. Turns out that it was meditation. So I'm going to outline for you in this video what are some of the things that it's done for me, how I practice meditation, and just kind of the steps that it's taken me to get, I guess, to where I am now. I've never taken any classes. I'm not certified in anything, so I'm just me sharing with you what works for me, right? So anyway, so that's kind of the backstory of how I happened upon, if you want to call it that, meditation. So what I did, I made a decision that I would start meditating every day. And I thought, this is so my personality too, I thought, go big or go home. Like, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm being impressed this strongly in my heart that this is something that I need to do, then I'm gonna go big or I'm gonna go home. And so I made a commitment to myself that I would meditate also for 100 days for an hour a day. That was my commitment. I know some of you are saying, that's huge, that's impossible. It totally was. I had no idea what to expect. I had no idea what that would look like for me. Nobody that I knew even practiced meditation, so it was like this total new agey thing, right? Only the ones who, I don't know, worship beings that I don't even know their names of do this meditation thing, right? But it felt so right, and I felt so impressed, and so I said, this is what I'm gonna do. So this is what it looked like for me. The first 7 days were absolutely chaotic. They were awful. They were horrifying, and it was like I had this massive battle in my mind and in my heart for the first, it was like 5 to 7 days. For an hour a day, it was a huge battle. But I was committed, and I was going to make it happen. And the person who I was kind of following, the one that I found on YouTube, had told me to expect this. And so I was like, okay, this is normal. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be insane. After about 5 to 7 days, that's about when I started noticing changes. I was like, something's different. I felt more connected. I was having these episodes of inspiration. I would just have these thoughts that were so inspired, and I was like, wow, that's good. And I would write it down, or I would make a quick video or something like that, and then it would just be these episodes of a couple of minutes of great inspiration, stuff that I needed to hear for myself or whatever. And I felt more peaceful. Oh, I also want to say that another thing that I started doing at the same time, I cut way back on my media. Any videos, any TV shows, any movies, anything. Now, I'm not a huge media consumer anyway, but I just decided, I understand the idea of give and take. And so I thought, if I'm going to go into this, then I need to, like, if I'm going to make space in my life for this, I need to take something out of my life, while if that makes sense. So I cut way back, and I know for a fact that helped me. And if I remember, I'll kind of come back to that a little bit later. So after about 5 to 7 days, I noticed a difference in myself, and I thought, it was at that time that I was like, okay, I needed this encouragement so I could keep going, because it was just this chaos in my head. After the second week, so about 10 to 14 days, people started coming to me and saying, something's different about you. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something different about you. And me, I was like, I know, right? Let me tell you what I'm doing. And you guys, I'm not even kidding. People would start calling me out of the blue, and family members, friends, people I hadn't heard of forever, and just be like, I just felt like I needed to talk to you. I know this is really random, but I just felt like maybe, I don't know, that there was something that you had for me. And I was in this space where I could actually listen to them without trying to fix a problem or do whatever. And I always recommended meditation, and people were either horrified at the thought, or they were like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing, I'm going to try it. But I was at a place where I was like, whatever you want, this is working for me, this is amazing. So fast forward up to 100 days, I did complete, I even went out of country. I went to Guatemala for a week during that time, and I managed to still do my meditation, even if it was 30 minutes twice a day or something like that. I still managed to keep that commitment to myself, and I know that had a lot to do with it. But I went 100 days, and guys, ever since then, my life has never been the same. It was during those 100 days that I learned to deeply love myself. I learned to deeply accept God's love for me. I learned emotional self-reliance, not depending on other people to tell me that if I was valuable or not. I know it, like, I thought that I was good in those areas, but it wasn't until I really went the 100 days and I really got into this, and I really studied and spent time with myself and God, that I got really clear, and my life has shifted tremendously. I'm a completely different person than I was 4 years ago. I'm a way better mother. I'm a way better partner. I'm way nicer to myself in my head and in front of the mirror. I'm way nicer to other people. I'm not nicer, kinder. I'm more genuine. I'm softer. I'm more gentle. I can say all of these things without any apology. I know my worth. I know my value in ways that I could not have even imagined was available to me before. So that's a little bit about what meditation has done for me, and a little bit of the process. I also want to describe for you, if this is something that calls to you, if this is a practice that you want to pick up, I'm going to describe kind of what it looks like for me. Other people that you may reach out to have you teach, or have them teach you their meditation techniques, they may say totally different things, okay? There's no wrong way to do this. I think that's one of the most important things that you can start out with. There's no wrong way to do this, so just throw any ideas of perfectionism out the window. If you are making a commitment, the definition of meditation I heard one time is conscious connection with God, with your higher power, with source, with the divine. It's basically conscious, setting aside conscious time to communicate with God. Okay? So I've had people ask me, well, is that what prayer is? Is that what scripture reading is? Is that what mantras are? Is that what reading a great book is? What about walking? What about exercising? What about yoga? Like, what about all these things? The way I look at it, the way I understand it, is all of those things that I just named are like all grouped together. That is meditation. So once again, there's no wrong way to do it. If you need to do a moving meditation, do that. Let your mind be focused on, this is how I connect with God here and now. This is it. If it's yoga, this is how I connect with God. If it's prayer, this is how I connect with God. This is how, whatever. But if you set aside that time and make it your conscious connection, that time with God, that you are like, you know, defining that this is how I'm going to connect and communicate with God, that is your meditation. Start with that. It's perfect. As far as time, 2 minutes is better than nothing, and an hour is better than 2 minutes. And it is going to be chaos. Like, expect that for the first 5 to 7 days. You're absolutely going to be fighting for your life inside of your head. Take a deep breath with me. And just take that in. If this is a practice that you want to start, you will fight for your life almost every day, at least for the first 5 to 7 consecutive days. After that, the survival thing, fight, whatever's going on in your head, it will absolutely dissipate. So just trust the process and know, you know, and for some people it's longer than that. So I guess it just depends on what headspace you're coming into it to start with. For me, it was 5 to 7 days. Other people, now that I think about it, have told me that it has been longer. Trust the process. I feel like I'm a little bit rambling, but I hope maybe you're following this. So know that it's going to be chaos. Make a decision to make a conscious, to dedicate this time to God, and make a conscious effort. And then just find what works for you, right? So I only have a couple of rules, and it would be this. Let's see if I can remember them without any notes. Rule number 1, let go of any judgment. I literally in my head have been down so many bizarre rabbit holes. Like, why don't have pigs actually have wings? And why this? And I don't know. Like, I can sometimes have the most bizarre thoughts. But if you think about it, you go throughout your day and your mind is so trained to do what it needs to do to get the things done, whether you're a partner or a mother, whether you're a working person, I don't know who's watching this video, a father, like anybody, whatever it is that you're doing, you have had to train your mind to go through things to get stuff done throughout the day. If not, you'd be a bum on the street. By the way, if you're a bum on the street watching this is also totally for you. Okay, take that in. So, where was I going with that? See, rabbit hole. So no judgment. So literally the only thing that you should be doing during meditation is just thinking, this is my time with God. Breathe. This is my time with God. I'm here. Breathe. Just be focusing on breathing. Don't make your mind, this is, again, other people will tell you different, maybe. This is what works for me. Don't try to bring your mind and focus on one thing. That doesn't work for me. For me, because I've trained my mind to be such a machine, this is like my mind's time to just be heard. Like a child that's kind of tantruming. My poor brain and my incredible intelligence just wants to be heard, right? So this is my time for it to just be heard. Sometimes I will even sit with a pen and a pencil and just write down a dialogue that goes through my mind, just because it's so funny. And sometimes it's terrifying, and sometimes it's heartbreaking. Like, there's a lot of sad stuff that sometimes comes up for me that I didn't realize, or maybe did realize, that I had pushed down for so long. And I'm creating this safe space for me to just let whatever out. And it's just between me and God, and let there be no judgment in that space. Please learn to let go of the judgment. That's my rule number 1. Now that I'm thinking about it, that may be my only rule. Because what if you gave yourself, say, an hour every day to just sit and think without judgment? Think and breathe. Breathing is the way your body releases anything that comes up. Just breathe. You'll find yourself, especially if you have something that you're working through or whatever in your mind and in your heart, you'll actually find yourself breathing really shallow or holding your breath. As soon as you notice that you're doing that, breathe. It helps your body and your emotions literally process what's going on. Our bodies are so amazing. They are designed to process the hard emotions that we are going to experience here in this life. That's a whole nother video for time that we don't have in this video, but that's a whole nother thing that I could talk about that I feel so passionately about. Breathe, let your body and your mind process whatever comes up at the time. So I feel like I'm kind of coming to the end of what I want to share with this video. Just remember to breathe. Let yourself just be you without any judgment. If you want to do a mantra, if there's something that you're struggling with, one of my favorite mantras is I am enough. I am enough. Sometimes I'll just sit for an hour. I am enough. And if I say it long enough, it makes me cry because it just expands my belief in that I am enough. I'm not what I do. I'm not my name. I'm not my body. I'm not my relationships. I'm not my achievements. I'm not my failures. I'm not all of the stuff that I've defined myself by. I'm just enough. And in this sacred space of meditation between me and God, it's like the only time that I can actually be enough. And it's so sacred, you guys. It's so sacred. So remember to breathe and remember to just give yourself some time, whatever it is that you're doing during that time, to just experience yourself with no judgment. Know that it's going to be chaos at first. Trust the process. And if this is something that calls to you, I encourage you to do it. If you can't do 100 days, do 5. If you can't do an hour, do 2 minutes a day. But do something. If it calls to you, there's a reason for it. There's a whole nother you that's just waiting to be let out, to be freed from fears and judgments and criticisms and, oh my gosh, so much. So just to kind of wrap this up and to finish it up with, some of you may be thinking, well, how do I even start? You're saying just sit there for an hour for 100 days. Like that literally feels like I would stop breathing and die in that moment. I get that. I totally get that. So there's a couple of things that you can do. You can go on to YouTube and you can find some guided meditations. Sometimes they're music. Sometimes they're somebody talking and guiding you through something. You can find tons of different, oh my gosh, why am I going blank? Like lengths, 2 minutes to 20 minutes to 2 hours, whatever calls to you. So YouTube is where I have found some great meditations. I also use an app called Insight Timer. That's probably one of my favorites because you can actually connect with friends and family and people around the world who are also meditating. You can see people who are meditating at the same time. You can actually, when you're connected to people, see what they're meditating to and kind of just be, it's just fun. I love connection. I love social connection and things like that. So for me, that calls to me. What else? You can, what I did for the first 100 days, I just sat in silence. Like I was just like, I got this. I just sat in silence, you know. I wrote a lot. Writing was very therapeutic for me. It still is. And I discovered this amazing ability I have to actually put my thoughts into words when I'm connected through meditation. Sometimes I will start my meditations with, Dear Lord, what do you have to teach me today? And then I'm just quiet and just trust whatever comes in is from God. I know that sounds crazy because we're not conditioned to believe that. But once again, it's one of the things that meditation has done for me. I can differentiate between the voice of God and the voice of my fears and insecurities. It's like so easy to differentiate from now. Yeah, there's other apps out there as well. Like I said, Insight Timer really calls to me. YouTube is easy. I know there's a lot of people that sell CDs, and there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of ways that you can start. But really, it's just the first step. Pick a number of days. Pick how often you want to do it, or the length of time that you want to do it. It works best when you do it consecutively. And remember to breathe. Remember to love yourself. Remember to live your life without judgment. And remember that in the sacred space between you and God, you're always, always, always enough. That is my experience with meditation, as far as I can cram it into almost 20 minutes. So my love to you. If you have any questions, reach out to me. You can post a comment. If you can comment on this video or whatever, I will be putting it up on my YouTube channel. So yeah, I think that's it. Can't think of anything to share. So that's a good indicator that we have wrapped this up.